Good morning, everyone. My name is Elliot Payne. I'm the president of Minneapolis City Council. And before we convene our meeting, we have presentations of honorary resolutions. We are pleased to welcome guests to this space to share in these presentations before taking up our agenda. First up is a resolution recognizing National Police Week presented by council members Rainville, Vital, and Palmisano.
Here we go. Recognizing National Police Week and honoring the life and legacy of Officer Jamal Mitchell. Whereas National Police Week was established in 1962 by President John F. Kennedy to honor the service and sacrifice of law enforcement officers, especially those who have died in the line of duty. And whereas this week provides an opportunity for cities and citizens to reflect on the vital role police officers play in upholding the rule of law, maintaining public safety, and strengthening the bonds between law enforcement and the communities they serve. And
whereas Officer Jamal Mitchell of the Minneapolis Police Department gave his life in the line of duty while courageously responding to a call for help, demonstrating extraordinary bravery, selflessness, and an unwavering commitment to the protection of others. And whereas Officer Mitchell joined the Minneapolis Police Department with the mission of making a difference in people's lives and had already been recognized by his heroism in a previous life-saving incident shortly after joining the force.
And whereas Officer Mitchell's deep dedication to service, his compassion for others, and his radiant spirit left a lasting impact on his colleagues, his community, and everyone who had the privilege of knowing him. And whereas the loss of Officer Mitchell has left a profound void in the hearts of his beloved family, his fellow officers, the Minneapolis Police Department, and the entire city, and his sacrifice will never be forgotten. And whereas during National Police Week, we not only honor those who serve today, but we pause in solemn remembrance of those who made the ultimate sacrifice, including Officer Mitchell, whose legacy of courage and compassion will continue to inspire us all. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Minneapolis hereby recognizes the week of May 11 to 17, 2025 as National Police Week in Minneapolis and encourages all residents to express gratitude to the brave men and women of law enforcement who work to keep our city safe. Be it further resolved that the City Council honors the memory, heroism, and sacrifice of Officer Jamal Mitchell and extends its deepest condolences to his families, friends, and fellow officers. His legacy will live in the hearts of a grateful city forever. So thank you very much. And Chief, would you be kind enough to just give us a couple words about Officer Mitchell and your force?
Thank you, council members, for honoring Jamal and pausing to honor all of the loved ones of the 50 Minneapolis police officers who have given their lives for the city, including many, some who are still alive, who grew up as children without a parent because they were killed in the line of duty serving this city. As I've said before, Jamal was a hero, not because of how he died, because of how he lived his life as a man. And as people in authority for the city of Minneapolis, we could not have asked for better. So thank you, Tori, for your sacrifice. Thank you, Cohen, Jalen, Caden, and Mason for their sacrifice. All of us owe you our gratitude. And as I've told you before, long after those bagpipes stop playing, the people in these blue shirts will not forget you. We will not forget Jamal's kids, and we will always be here for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. And let's gather here for a photo. We're going to try and get between these two pieces of tape. Charlie, I see you don't want to be in the photo. Well, come on. You better. Councilmember Vita is requesting your presence. Yeah. So, come on.
She doesn't give out requests.
That's
She gives out orders.
Come on. Let's see how many we can get in here. Come on. Come, Tori, you get in front. Get in front. Come on, please. Come on. Eileen, get up here. Get up here.
Short people in front?
Yeah.
Short.
Yeah. You short ones in front.
Short ones in front. I'll go back here. I'm 6'7", you can't tell though. Elliot. You're over here. It's the big block.
Oh, no, you have the tech.
Wow, we already took it.
Always. Can we see it, Chief? Come on, slide down. We gotta get between the piece of tape, guys. Margaret, can you get in? Okay. All right, thank you.
Excuse me. Before you guys leave, I just want to say a little bit of, I heard former Chief Arredondo on the radio this morning, and I just want to thank him for his service as well as all of you at a very momentous historical time in our city, and just thank the Minneapolis Police Department for all you do each and every day for this city. Thank you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you'll just stay. They never stay. Well, you always can. I mean, I think we're up next. Okay. So just stay out here. We'll get the next group out. Is Public Service Week next? Okay, we're gonna have these guys stay out. How are you? Well.
Next, we will recognize Public Service Week.
So you guys, here, Gators and I will go on the side.
Very touchy. I can't imagine.
To the point.
Today we are recognizing May 25th as Public Service Recognition Month in the city of Minneapolis. Whereas public employees at federal, state, and local levels are responsible for anticipating, providing, and planning for the needs of their communities and for delivering essential services and programs that advance the common good and improve the well-being of all communities. And whereas people across the nation, including here in the city of Minneapolis, benefit each day from the vast array of services and programs provided by public employees who are committed to the tenets of good government and public administration. And whereas public service is a noble calling that enables individuals to use their gifts and talents, either as a portion or even all of their careers, to contribute to the health, safety, and general welfare of their communities, both now and in the future. And
whereas employees of the City of Minneapolis demonstrate each day their professionalism, dedication, and focus on making this community, made up of many communities, the best it can possibly be. And whereas Public Service Recognition Month provides an opportunity to recognize, promote, and appreciate the important contributions of our public servants. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Mayor and City Council do hereby recognize May 2025 as Public Service Recognition Month in the City of Minneapolis and honor all employees of the City of Minneapolis for the significant contributions they make and the challenges they face each day, and commend them for their many accomplishments. The Mayor and City Council offer sincere gratitude and thanks for all their efforts to serve, protect, promote, and advance the health, safety, and welfare of all residents, businesses, and visitors of our community. And then we'll first recognize our COO to share some words.
Well, thank you, Council President, Council Vice President, all members of the council. Thank you so much. I want to thank my colleagues both our colleagues who stayed up here and our colleagues who came over for this. We, of course, are representing a slice of the city today up here. And I think that I've thought a lot about, like, why do we do this work? Why do I do this work? Why do we do this work? We do this work because we have a deep dedication to public service, to serving the public. And I can only tell you, for those watching who are always wondering about why we do our work is some of the most exciting work in the world. We are working on police reform. We are working on transformational governing. We are working on protecting people's civil rights. We are working on the economic well-being of this city and its infrastructure every day. And so I just want to say thank you. And please, this month, make sure to say thank you to your colleagues, too. It's really important. We love our work. We don't do it for the praise. We do it because the work is so fulfilling. So thank you for this resolution today.
yeah, I would just add, oftentimes, especially in this current era, there's this talk of applying business ideas to government so that we can make things more efficient or more productive. And, you know, there are practices from the private sector that can help strengthen how we do governance here. But I think that the difference between government and business is the reasons why we're here. And this is not about maximizing our profit. This is not about getting a return to shareholders. This is about serving a purpose that's greater than ourselves. And I'm really grateful for everyone that has decided to serve something greater than themselves by being here. So thank you. Next, we will recognize Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander Heritage Month with Council Members Chowdhury and Vice President Chugtai.
All right. Honoring Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander Heritage Month in the city of Minneapolis. Whereas Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander Heritage Month is a month-long celebration in May that celebrates the rich and diverse cultures, traditions, and histories of Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander communities. And whereas AANHPI communities consist of approximately 50 distinct ethnic groups speaking over 100 languages with connections among people in Minneapolis, including but not limited to Bangladeshi, Burmese, Cambodian, Chinese, Filipino, Hmong, Indian, Japanese, Korean, Lao, Pakistani, Thai, and Vietnamese ancestries. And whereas over the past 5 decades, thousands of refugees and asylum seekers from Asian countries and cultures have resettled in Minnesota, including Hmong refugees since the 1970s, Vietnamese refugees since the 1980s, and Korean refugees since the early 2000s. And whereas May reminds us to celebrate and honor our AANHPI community members, past and present, and the beautiful ways they contribute to and enrich our daily lives in Minneapolis. And whereas May commemorates 2 important early dates in AANHPI history: the arrival of the first Japanese immigrants to the United States on May 7, 1843, and the completion of the Transcontinental Railroad, largely built by Chinese immigrants, on May 10, 1869. And
whereas May provides a time to reflect on the challenging history of AANHPI communities across different ethnicities. During the past nearly 2 centuries, AANHPI community members have faced countless acts of discrimination and endured traumatic events, including but not limited to the Chinese Exclusion Act of 1882, the Los Angeles Chinese Massacre of 1871, the invasion of the Hawaiian Kingdom in 1893, the 1917 and 1924 immigration laws that effectively ended immigration from Asia until 1965, the British-led partition of India, U.S. military aid in the Bangladesh genocide of 1971, and the incarceration of over 120,000 Japanese Americans during World War II, the murder of Vincent Chin in 1982, and the spike of anti-Asian racism and violence throughout the COVID-19 pandemic. And whereas throughout history, the AANHPI community have often been subjected to the perception of being perpetual foreigners, despite their deep roots and contributions to American society. And whereas the pervasive myth of the AANHPI community being the model minority, in particular individuals of East Asian descent, has inaccurately portrayed this community as being universally successful, obscuring the socioeconomic disparities and challenges faced by many within the diverse AANHPI community, and has been weaponized to downplay instances of racism and discrimination. And whereas the rise of anti-Asian sentiment and rhetoric has resulted in a surge of hate crimes and discrimination targeting the AANHPI community, perpetuating fear in these communities, and whereas despite these challenges, the Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander communities have persevered and made significant contributions to the American social, economic, and cultural fabric of the United States. And
whereas AANHPI communities have contributed greatly to the arts, music, literature, business, science, technology, government, and social movements, enriching the cultural and civic life of Minneapolis and beyond. And whereas organizations such as the Coalition of Asian American Leaders, Asian American Organizing Project, Serving Asian Indian Family Wellness, and the SEED Project nurture civic engagement, creative expression, and social justice for the AANHPI communities across Minneapolis and Minnesota. And whereas AANHPI entrepreneurs have strengthened Minneapolis' economy, opening businesses that serve diverse neighborhoods and contribute to the vibrancy of the city's markets and cultural corridors. And whereas artists and educators and leaders from the AANHPI communities have expanded the understanding of shared histories and built intergenerational bridges in Minneapolis and across Minnesota. And whereas Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islanders are among the fastest growing racial groups in the United States and account for about 7.5% of the city of Minneapolis's population, when considering individuals who identify Asian or Pacific Islander either alone or as a part of their multicultural identity. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Mayor and City Council do hereby recognize the month of May as Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander Heritage Month and celebrate the rich cultural diversity and contributions to this community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Would you all like to say some words?
Sure. Thank you so much. Yes. Council President, Vice President, Council Members, Councilmember Chuktai, Councilmember Chaudhary, thank you so much for your support. We really appreciate this recognition and appreciation of this very hardworking and very hardworking community. They're very resilient and are a valuable part of the community. So the support that we have seen from the community and from the administration is valuable. So thanks for that. We really appreciate that. Thank you. I'm going to pass it on to...
Thank you, council members Chuktai and Chaudhary. It's always an honor to have you present the honorary resolution for us. Thank you to all the other council members as well for always supporting us. I also want to give a special shout out to Mira. That's our Minneapolis Immigrant and Refugee ERG for also supporting us as well. I also want to announce some of the events that we'll be hosting this month. On May 15th at 7:30 a.m. to 9:30 a.m., we'll be hosting a coffee and donuts social event. So come by and get some coffee and donuts. On May 22nd, between 1 p.m. to 2:30 p.m., we'll also be hosting a potluck. So come on down and get some food. It's really delicious. And throughout the month of May, we'll also be hosting a cultural dress and arts display over at the Hennepin County Tunnel. This will also extend into June for Immigrant and Refugee Heritage Month as well. So come on by and see some pretty clothes and arts and yeah, have fun. Thank you.
We went to the potluck last year, so it was really, really great food, as you said. So we recommend anyone to come. We'll be there. Okay, let's get together for a photo and just kind of squeeze in.
Finally, I will welcome up Councilmember Chavez to recognize International Workers' Day.
All right. So today we're going to be recognizing International Workers' Day. But before we begin, we want to take a little moment of silence, and I'll explain a little bit about why. So for the past 2 days, the south side of Minneapolis has been rocked with gun violence, impacting our Native community and our racially diverse community in Phillips and on Lake Street. This is having a tremendous impact on our community right now, where we have lost young ones, our relatives, our residents, our family members, our friends, our community members are truly rocked with this pain and trauma right now in South Minneapolis. And we wanted to at least acknowledge that, because a lot of folks up here today are Southsiders, and want to make sure that we talked about the situation that's happening in South Minneapolis right now, and acknowledging the pain that our Native community is struggling with right now, that our Phillips community is struggling right now, that Lake Street is struggling with right now, our racially diverse community is struggling right now. So I at least want to start off with that. I know that Joe, one of our Native leaders here, is going to be speaking a bit, Susana as well, to talk a little bit about the situation too.
Thank you, Council Member, and I appreciate the time to recognize this. I first want to start off with saying that, it's with deep appreciation to the City of Minneapolis for the resources and the coordination that is happening between departments and the Native community, as well as our Mexican and Latinx communities. We look forward to the continued coordination as we get through this. As we deal with these travesties, though, I think we have a tendency to paint South Minneapolis as this, hellscape of, there's always something wrong going on. And I think what we have to look at is today as the example of what South Minneapolis actually is. Here in South Minneapolis, community isn't a word, it is a perspective. And what we're going to see, right now, folks at Little Earth, as well as invitations to our neighbors, are meeting at Cedar Field for a community prayer. Later on in the day, there will be a ceremony at 6 p.m. that is welcome to all to help grieve and deal with this trauma and this hurt. And community members, this also means that you come with whatever gifts that you might have, whether it's your time, your treasures, or just reaching out to somebody that, you let them know that you're thinking about them. That's what South Minneapolis is about. As we navigate and get through what is, these atrocities that are happening, again, I'll reinstate that we appreciate the coordination with the City of Minneapolis. Want want to uplift the activities of the community. And, you know, prayers are with the families as well. They've lost young ones, and that a future, a life is something that is not replaceable, but we're here for them. Miigwech, and then I'll pass it on to Sana.
Thank you, and thank you, everyone in attendance, and to the council. Friends, we're all relatives. We've known each other for a long time. And this light is for our relatives, for our ancestors, the recently passed, our new ancestors that we're honoring with the medicine that we have here. I do walk in the community as a person with knowledge of some of the medicines as well as some of the law. But we want to say today that we are one community. You know, we are interrelated in so many ways. We are neighbors, we are family, we are cousins, aunties, you know, grandparents of each other's. And so there are no nations today. There is just one strong community here present. And we thank you for the time and the honoring of these young relatives. Él es Dios.
Gracias. And now we're going to transition into recognizing International Workers' Day, but we know that recognizing International Workers' Day, May Day, is interconnected with the situation that is happening in South Minneapolis. Poverty, gun violence, workers' rights that impact our community are all interconnected on this day as well. So we're recognizing International Workers' Day, and the reason why it's also important now more than ever is we have a federal administration that is gutting workers, that is attacking the rights of workers across the country, that is demonizing our immigrant community across this country, targeting Minneapolis. And it is important that we do everything that we can at the local level to make sure that we are doing what we can to uplift our workers, to make sure that we're protecting people's wages, to ensure that we are protecting our undocumented immigrants, our refugees, our immigrants in general from deportations, from threats of deportations, and making sure that we are actually a city that welcomes all of our community members. And we want to make sure that we at least started with that as well. So we're recognizing International Workers' Day, whereas around the world, May 1st is celebrated as International Workers' Day. In over 60 countries, it is a holiday to recognize struggle for workers' rights. And whereas May 1st was first celebrated in the United States in 1886 as part of the struggle for their 8-hour workday, and hundreds of thousands of workers across the country went on strike to demand better working conditions and shorter hours. And
whereas many of the workers who struggled for the 8-hour workday in 1886 were immigrant and black workers, among others who had been previously excluded from the actions around labor and faced repression, discrimination, and violence. And whereas May 1st celebrations returned to Minneapolis in 2006 because of the dedicated work done by the immigrant rights movement to counter discrimination and human rights violations against immigrants at the national level and strengthen relationship between organized labor and immigrant workers. And
whereas the Minneapolis City Council passed resolutions in 2007 and 2009 recognizing the growing immigrant worker rights rallies in Minneapolis on May 1st, which have continued annually through the present year. And whereas Minneapolis has a long history of immigrant and workers' rights advocates coming together in the spirit of solidarity. And whereas immigrants, workers, and their families are an essential and valued component of our Minneapolis community. And whereas labor unions and the historic and present advocacy of working people has resulted in economic, social, and political transformation for the dignity of all people here in Minneapolis and around the world.
now, therefore, be it resolved that the mayor and city council do hereby recognize May 1st, 2025 as International Workers' Day in recognition of immigrant and workers' rights. We can clap. Yeah. There are so many people up here, from our labor partners to our immigrant right advocates to our community members here at large. And we wanted to have an opportunity for at least folks up here to be able to share a few words. William, if you don't mind first, I'm going to kick it off to you, and then we'll go from there.
Well, first, thank you everybody for give us the opportunity to be here today. My name is William Martinez. I am one of the co-founders of Minnesota Immigrant Right Action Coalition in that time, in 2006. But if we go to the history, 100 years ago, was the immigrants, with different color, the ones start taking the street and earn the 8 hours. That was under the umbrella of the AFL-CIO in that time. 100 years later, same thing. The attacks happen, and you can see right now here the diversity. We, the immigrants, with the Minneapolis Labor Federation, AFL-CIO, we're going again to the streets. We're going again to retake and fight to maintain what we want. So that's a big struggle. We are in the process right now, but we are ready to go and take the streets. One thing about me, I was a same person, came to this country with no legal document, becoming U.S. citizen, joined to the unions, and right now I am one of the people fighting for my own people. So it's a process. Every time when people told us we stop there, it's not true. The trades, the unions, you need to join to the unions to have a better life, but this is how you're gonna change. So it's a struggle in the immigrant movement, but this is why we are here. We are here like one only group of people, the working class. And this is who we are right now. So thank you again, and I see you today, 4:30 p.m. in the streets of the Capitol. We're gonna be there, so don't worry. We're gonna continue taking the street.
Anybody here?
I'd rather have a lady do that piece, because William just spoke, and then have another guy talking, doesn't look right. So, but since no one wanted to take on the mic, my name is Pablo Tapia Mendoza. I'm a member of the Teamsters, Local 974 here in Minneapolis. I'm a worker for the auto body industry for almost 38 years. But I'm also been involved in community organizing as a founder and executive director for Asamblea de Derechos Civiles. And all of us here, we've been roaming the streets, marching the streets, and we're not tired. And today we're gonna do it again because we know every inch and every corner in Minneapolis, in St. Paul, in Marshall, you name it, St. Cloud, we've been marching all over the place, and even all over the country. So just for what? For rights. Rights for immigrants, rights for workers, rights for everyone. Human rights and civil rights for all of us. So thank you very much for this recognition. And I know we're honoring our Teamster brothers that struggle here in Minneapolis back in the 1930s. Some of you that know history about Minneapolis know what happened in the 1930s with the uprising of the Teamsters and the militarization on the streets. So we are honoring those immigrants that were back then fighting for us, and some of them got even deported and taken away back to Europe because they were European immigrants. So we are honoring those folks, and we will continue because I know someone will honor Susana de Leon, Mariano, William, Jason, and all of you, Jovita, will be honored in the future when the struggle continues. Thank you and amen. ¿Se puede? ¿Se puede? ¿Se puede?
Mariano, ¿quieres decir algo? No? Sorry, Michelle? Okay. Okay, cool. All right, we'll take a quick photo and then we'll get going.
Thank you, everyone. At this time, I'm going to call this regular meeting of the City Council for May 1st to order. The clerk will call the roll.
Councilmember Ellison, can you hear me, Council President? Yes. Councilmember Ellison is absent. No. Oh, he's there. Oh. Not a great start. Here. I'm going to start again. Councilmember Ellison.
Here.
Councilmember Koski is absent. Councilmember Wansley.
Present.
Councilmember Jenkins.
Present.
Councilmember Palmisano.
Present.
Councilmember Chowdhury.
Present.
Councilmember Cashman.
Present.
Councilmember Osman.
Present.
Councilmember Rainville.
Present.
Councilmember Chavez.
Present.
Councilmember Vita.
Present.
Vice President Chugtai.
Present.
President Payne.
Present.
We have 12 members present.
Let the record reflect that we have a quorum. Before we begin the meeting, I want to offer a friendly reminder to all members and staff that this meeting is broadcast live to enable greater public participation. The broadcast includes real-time captioning as a further method to increase accessibility of our proceedings to the community. Therefore, all speakers need to be mindful of the rate of their speech so that our captioners can fully capture and transcribe all comments for the broadcast. We ask all speakers to moderate the speed and clarity of their comments. With that, the agenda for today's meeting is before us. Are there any amendments? Councilmember Ellison?
Thank you. Yeah, I would like to add a resolution to the amendment or to the agenda honoring the life and legacy of Kirk Washington, Northside resident, longtime Northside resident, poet, lost his life a number of years ago, and the community's been honoring his legacy ever since.
All right. Without objection, I'll just add that. And may I have a motion to adopt the agenda, including Councilmember Ellison's amendment?
So moved.
Second.
The clerk will call the roll.
Councilmember Ellison.
Aye.
Councilmember Koski is absent. Councilmember Wansley.
Aye.
Councilmember Jenkins.
Aye.
Councilmember Palmisano.
Aye.
Councilmember Chowdhury.
Aye.
Councilmember Cashman.
Aye.
Councilmember Osman.
Aye.
Councilmember Rainville.
Aye.
Councilmember Chavez.
Aye.
Councilmember Vita.
Aye.
Vice President Chugtai.
Aye.
President Payne.
Aye.
There are 12 ayes.
That carries, and the agenda is adopted as amended. The next item is acceptance of minutes from our regular meeting of April 17th. I would entertain a motion to accept those minutes.
So moved.
Second.
The clerk will call the roll.
Councilmember Ellison.
Aye.
Councilmember Wansley.
Aye.
Councilmember Jenkins.
Aye.
Councilmember Palmisano.
Aye.
Councilmember Chowdhury.
Aye.
Councilmember Cashman.
Aye.
Councilmember Osman.
Aye.
Councilmember Rainville.
Aye.
Councilmember Chavez.
Aye.
Councilmember Vita.
Aye.
Council Vice President Chuktai.
Aye.
Council President Payne.
Aye.
There are 12 ayes.
That carries, and the minutes have been accepted. Finally, we have the referral of petitions, communications, and reports to proper committees. May I have that motion, please?
So moved. Second.
The clerk will call the roll.
Councilmember Ellison.
Aye.
Councilmember Wansley.
Aye.
Councilmember Jenkins.
Aye.
Councilmember Palmisano.
Aye.
Councilmember Chowdhury.
Aye.
Councilmember Cashman.
Aye.
Councilmember Osman.
Aye.
Councilmember Rainville.
Aye.
Councilmember Chavez.
Aye.
Councilmember Vita.
Aye.
Vice President Chuktai.
Aye.
Council President Payne.
Aye.
There are 12 ayes.
That carries, and those matters have been referred. The next order of business is the presentation of reports from our standing committees. Those are taken in alphabetical order, beginning with the report of our Administration and Enterprise Oversight Committee, which will be presented by its chair, Councilmember Wansley.
Taking a sip of water because this is a long one. Thank you, Mr. President. The Administration and Enterprise Oversight Committee is bringing forward 31 items. The first is a gift acceptance from the New York University for travel, lodging, and conference registrations and meal expenses for Amanda Harrington to attend the 2025 Advancing the Field for Alternative Response convening conference in June. 2 is the gift acceptance from the National Association of County and City Health Officials of Registration, Lodging, and Airfare for Damone Chaplin. 3 is a gift acceptance from the Aspen Institute of Registration, Lodging, and Airfare for Damone Chaplin to attend the Aspen Ideas Festival Conference in June. Gift acceptance from the local Public Health Association of Registration, Lodging, and Airfare and meals for Sebastiana Cervantes to attend the Sophie Annual Conference in April is item number 4. 5 is a gift acceptance from the POLAD Foundation for travel, lodging, and conference registration and meal expenses for Melanie Rucker and Jared Jeffries to attend the 2025 Advancing the Field of Alternative Response Convening Conference in June. 6 is a gift acceptance from the National Association of City Transportation Officials of Travel Stipend, Conference Registration, and Travel and Lodging Expenses for Adam Hale to attend the NACDO's Designing Cities 2025 Conference. Number 7 is a bid for Hawthorne Office Build-Out Project from Morcon Construction. Number 8 is a bid for lead service line replacements year 2 project from Triple E Water and Sewer LLC and M&B Services LLC. 9 is a bid for sidewalk replacement program 2025 from Concrete Idea Inc. 10 is a bid for Ramp C waterproofing and structural repairs project from Ram Construction Services of Minnesota LLC. 11 is a bid for 12 signals and curb ramp improvement project from Thomas & Sons Construction, Inc. 12 is a joint powers agreement with Minneapolis Public Schools or its affiliates for a dance education program. 13 is a contract with Native American Community Development Institute for fiscal agent services for the American Indian Memorandum of Understanding for Metropolitan Urban Indian Directors. 14 is contracts with various vendors to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. 15 is contract with Speak Minneapolis LLC for public and community media access services to manage public access television. 16 is establish a consulting pool of 18 vendors for IT staff augmentation consulting services. 17 is contracts with neighborhood organizations qualifying for the neighborhood's 2020 Shared Resources and Collaborations Fund. 18 is contract amendment with Claire Housing for HIV site-based housing supportive services. 19 is contract amendment with Touch Outreach for youth group violence intervention services. 20 is contract amendments with 5 immigration legal services providers offering free immigration legal services to city residents. 21 is a contract amendment with CoStar Realty Information, Inc. for access to real estate information database. 22 is a contract amendment with Certified Languages International, LLC for remote interpreting services. 23 is a contract amendment with Axon Enterprise, Inc. for software licenses for body-worn cameras for the police department.
14 is a contract amendment with Mid-Minnesota Legal Aid for legal services to support low-income Minneapolis renters. 25 is a contract amendment with Northland Business Systems for transcription services and cloud hosting migration. 26 is a claim settlement for Blaisdell Portfolio, LLC. 27 is a claim settlement, various claims concerning 43rd and Upton stormwater flooding. 28 is a legal settlement, workers' compensation claim of David Vinson. 29 is a legal settlement for Michelle Gross and Janet Nye, the City of Minneapolis. And then 30 is a separation ordinance overview within the police department. And then 31 is a bid for Minneapolis Convention Center meeting rooms remodel phase 3 project from Sheehy Construction Company. And with that, I will move all items forward for a vote, exempting number 28.
Councilmember Wansley has moved approval of the report minus item 28. Is there any discussion on the remainder of the items? Councilmember Cashman.
Thank you, President Payne. I just wanted to congratulate the Arts and Cultural Affairs Department for this incredible funding opportunity and the expansion of dance education into all K through 12 schools and all 47 park and recreation centers throughout the city. I think this is really the best of what we can accomplish at the local level when we collaborate with schools and parks and the city and the creatives in our community. And as a former dancer myself, I know how much this really contributes to a sense of self and confidence. So thank you for bringing this program back to the youth in our city.
Councilmember Wansley.
Thank you, President Payne. I just wanted to offer some brief comments on item number 30, which is the separation ordinance overview within the police department legislative directive that I and Councilmember Chavez are co-authoring. As we all know, Minneapolis aims to be a welcoming city for everyone, regardless of their immigration status. And we do currently have a separation ordinance that affirms that position, which states that the city's law enforcement department will function separately from the federal government's immigration enforcement operations, and that the city will not operate programs for the purpose of enforcing those immigration laws. But that said, since the second start of the Trump's administration, I know my office and probably many of you all have received a number of questions from your residents that's concerned about how this ordinance is functioning, how that relates to MPD's role within this ordinance or all of our staff, and particularly what are the policies in place that helps to establish clear lines of disciplinary consequences, especially for staff within law enforcement or across the enterprise that violates those policies. So due to a lot of local and media coverage, I think residents are aware that President Trump does have a close relationship with Minneapolis former police Federation President Bob Kroll, and that current police union president also endorsed Kroll for U.S. Marshal. So I think lots of residents are just concerned around that close relationship, what that means for the administration relationship and potential targeting of the city of Minneapolis. So in response to those questions, we want to make sure that we're able to get a presentation from the administration to assure the public that there are specific plans in place from the Frye administration in light of the Trump administration aiming to facilitate any particular targeting of residents here and just to assuage any concerns around that. And also for MPD to share more clarity around their policies and disciplinarian actions for those who violate their policies. So that said, this legislative directive kind of provides that clarity and helps our residents know that as a city, we're taking these matters seriously and doing everything that we can to also affirm that we're not tolerating any of the intolerant actions coming from the Trump administration. So just wanted to give some context on that, and that's all.
Seeing no one else in queue, I will ask the clerk to call the roll on the AO report minus item 28.
Councilmember Ellison.
Aye.
Councilmember Wansley.
Aye.
Councilmember Jenkins.
Aye.
Councilmember Palmisano.
Aye.
Councilmember Chowdhury.
Aye.
Councilmember Cashman.
Aye.
Councilmember Osman.
Aye.
Councilmember Rainville.
Aye.
Councilmember Chavez.
Aye.
Councilmember Vita.
Aye.
Councilmember Koski.
Aye.
Vice President Chuktai.
Aye.
Council President Payne.
Aye.
There are 13 ayes.
That carries, and those items are adopted. Next, we will take on item number 28, and I will recognize Councilmember Palmisano.
I was just going to move that item. I'll go ahead and second that.
Oh, okay. We are taking up item number 28. Is there any discussion on this item? Seeing none, I will ask the clerk to call the roll.
Councilmember Ellison.
Aye.
Councilmember Koski.
Aye.
Councilmember Wansley.
Aye.
Councilmember Jenkins.
Aye.
Councilmember Palmisano.
Aye.
Councilmember Chowdhury.
Aye.
Councilmember Cashman.
Aye.
Councilmember Osman.
Aye.
Councilmember Rainville.
Aye.
Councilmember Chavez.
Aye.
Councilmember Vita.
Aye.
Vice President Chuktai.
Aye.
Council President Payne.
Aye.
There are 13 ayes.
That carries, and the full report is adopted. Next, we have the report from our Business, Housing, and Zoning Committee, which will be given by that committee's chair, Councilmember Osman.
Thank you, Mr. President. Business, Housing, and Zoning Committee is bringing forward 15 items. Item 1 is approving a permanent expansion of premises license for Mothership Pizza Paradise. Item 2 is approving a rental hall license for Royal Stone Square. Item 3 is approving a liquor and entertainment license for Froyo Sol. Item 4 is approving a liquor license for Habanero Tacos. Item 5 is considering a permanent expansion of premises license for Fair State Brewing. This item was sent forward without recommendation. However, after hearing of a resolution from staff and others, I will be moving this item for approval. Item 6 is a passage of resolution approving a TIF plan for Snailing Yachts Family Housing. Item 7 is approving 2 liquor license. Item 8 is approving 41 liquor renewals. Item 9 is approving and authorizing BTAP contracts. Item 10 is approving and authorizing DTAP contracts. Item 11 is a passage of resolution granting final approval of revenue bond for the NAC housing project. Item 12 is a passage of resolution approving spring 2025 brownfield grants. Item 13 is a passage of resolution approving appropriation of demolishing the structure at 1001 West Broadway. Item 14 is accepting a grant from the Best Friends Animal Society for travel fees. Item 15 is authorizing terms of extension for Greenbelt Development Project. Item 16 is authorizing the city to enter an exclusive rights agreement for federally owned property near Upper St. Anthony Falls. And lastly, item 17 is approving the development of framework for the new Nicollet project. With that, I will move all items for approval. Thank you.
Councilmember Osman has moved approval of the committee's report. Is there any discussion? Councilmember Cashman.
Thank you, President Payne. I just wanted to comment on the on-sale wine and beer and general entertainment license for Froyo Sol, which will be at the Sculpture Garden near the Walker Arts Center. And so this is following a new state law that allows liquor, beer, and wine sales in parks. And I'm really excited to see Froyo Sol bringing this business to the Sculpture Garden. I think it'll be a great opportunity for us to just enjoy the park and to bring vibrancy to this community in Ward 7. I'm especially excited that their food trucks will be possible to set up at 4 different locations in the Sculpture Garden, and that they'll be able to plug directly into the power because the park redesign allowed for that, so they won't need any noisy generators. And I just wanted to make sure that residents of the area know that the timing will be restricted between 11 and 7 p.m. and that all neighbors will be notified if there will be amplified sound. And they have assured us that any amplified sound will be facing away from the neighborhood. So to make sure that the neighborhood doesn't get too loud because of this new business as well. So I wish Froyo Sol all the best with their business.
Councilmember Chowdhury.
Thank you, President Payne. I wanted to just speak to the new Nicollet Avenue redevelopment. I know that's not in my ward. However, it was really wonderful getting to support this out of the Business, Housing, and Zoning Committee. First of all, I just wanted to thank the community that put in so much effort in participating in the engagement sessions that were had, and thank our city staff for the hard work that they did on putting together this development framework. I joked at the Business, Housing, and Zoning Committee. The Kmart parking lot was just kind of a meme for a long time, right? Like, literally, we had people dress up as, like, the Kmart parking lot and Kmart for Halloween. And we shouldn't let this moment pass by where we're stepping forward and we're reconnecting Nicollet and restoring access and just delivering all together as a city a once-in-a-generation opportunity to center affordable housing in the heart of South Minneapolis. And the thing that I felt super proud about is this is an example of development that is truly has the potential of being multi-generational and welcoming, right? Like types of housing for families, multi-bedroom apartment buildings, ownership opportunities in townhomes. There's a park that's there. There's work to get a grocery store nearby. I'm hoping that there'll be affordable housing specifically for seniors because it's so accessible to transit. And this is just really, really phenomenal work. And we're making a generational difference on what Minneapolis and this part of Minneapolis is going to look like. And I am just so excited that we're passing this first step today.
Councilmember Rainville.
Thank you. I want to speak briefly to item number 16, the exclusive rights agreement between the city, the Minneapolis Park and Recreation Board, and Awamna Yamni. And I'm butchering that name, so I apologize. But I want to shout out that Shelley Buck from the Dakota tribes has been a great representation, has provided great representation in this process and negotiating. She's been very patient, and she's very successful for this first step. So thank you so much, Shelley, for all your leadership.
Vice President Chuck Tai.
Thank you, Mr. President. I also wanted to just speak briefly on item number 17, the development framework for the new Nicollet project. I think this is our second really big and historic vote on this project in this term. And you know, as folks here at the city know, the work on the former Kmart site and reconnecting Nicollet, you know, has predated all of us and has been years in the making. And really excited to, you know, meet these different milestones and markers of progress in reconnecting Nicollet. This project is entirely in the Whittier neighborhood, but it is at the intersection and at the border of 4 different wards, Ward 8, Ward 6, and Ward 9. And the project area impacts all of those communities as well. And you know, I think that we have seen a historic and tremendous amount of community engagement that has gone into, you know, bringing forward this development framework, and that work would not be possible without the partnership with community and neighborhood organizations who have, you know, worked really diligently to engage all aspects of our community and really dig into what we want to see as the future of this historic and generational investment in the South Side. So, you know, I think that there's a hunger as well from in particular the Whittier community to continue to be engaged in every step of the process along the way. I think with something that is as tremendous a gift as a generational project like this one comes tremendous anxiety around what the future of this community is going to look like, and whether the people that call Whittier home, you know, 90% of us are renters, and you know, whether we're going to continue to be able to call this community home. So wanted to thank staff for all of their work in you know, navigating at times contentious or painful moments with our community and continuing to move this project along and forward. I'm really excited about this. Thank you.
Councilmember Jenkins.
Thank you, President Payne. I just wanted to echo and chime in on the new Nicollet project that has been alluded to decades in the making. Several city council members have had their fingers on this project for many, many years, and I really want to just thank staff for their commitment and dedication to this process. And it's been many, many different staff people who have had work and input on this. I teach at MCAD, and I know MCAD students have been engaged with helping to design some of the thought processes around this work. We brought in consultants from across the country to help think about this and ensure that this project is affordable and does not lead to displacement and or folks not being able to access this community. So it's been really a great work in progress up to this point, and it's transformative. It will completely transform the south side of Minneapolis and Lake Street. Millions and hundreds of millions of dollars of investment has been going into this project with the new transit station at Lake Street. And so I'm just really excited about the possibilities of reopening Nicollet and being a gateway to Ward 8 and all the amazing amenities that exist on that side of Lake Street. But it's a really incredible development to reopen this corridor. Thank you.
Seeing no one else in queue, I will ask the clerk to call the roll on the Biz Committee report.
Councilmember Ellison.
Aye.
Councilmember Koski. Aye. Councilmember Wansley. Aye. Councilmember Jenkins.
Aye.
Councilmember Palmisano.
Aye.
Councilmember Chowdhury.
Aye.
Councilmember Cashman.
Aye.
Councilmember Osman.
Aye.
Councilmember Rainville.
Aye.
Councilmember Chavez.
Aye.
Councilmember Vita.
Aye.
Vice President Chugtai.
Aye.
Council President Payne.
Aye.
There are 13 ayes.
That carries, and the report is adopted. The next report is from our Climate and Infrastructure Committee, which will be presented by that committee's chair, Councilmember Cashman.
Thank you, President Payne. Climate and Infrastructure Committee is bringing 7 items forward. Item 1, designating and setting a public hearing for the 2025 Fulton Residential Street Resurfacing Project. Item 2, approving the concept layout for the 35th Avenue North Flood Mitigation Project. Item 3, approval of a MnDOT lease amendment allowing rental of parking lots under I-94 bridges. Item 4, approving appointments to the 54th and Lyndale Special Service District Advisory Board. Item 5, approving appointments to the Eat Street Special Service District Advisory Board. Item 6, authorizing the submittal of a grant application to the Minneapolis Foundation for the EPA Environmental Justice Thriving Communities Grant-Making Program. And item 7, authorizing the submittal of a grant application to the Bush Foundation for the Community Innovation Grant. And I'll move approval of all 7 items.
Councilmember Cashman has moved approval of the committee's report. Is there any discussion? Councilmember Cashman.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to thank Nicholas and Trevor for volunteering to serve on the Eat Street Special Service District Advisory Board. These 2 folks are from Ward 8 and Ward 10, representing MCAD and Tasks Unlimited. But I just wanted to thank them because I know the Eat Street Special Service District has really struggled to have membership beyond Sam Turner from the Nicollet Diner. So I am really glad that there will be more representation here. And as we work to improve conditions for the commercial corridor along Eat Street, I think their collaboration will be really important. And I just wanted to mention that although it's not an item that we're passing through council, we did hear the Climate Legacy Initiative 2025 update from Deputy Commissioner Patrick Hanlon in committee, with a lot of great updates on the $10 million climate investment and all of the work that they've been building out to weatherize and retrofit our homes and build out geothermal energy and a green workforce in the city. So if you're interested in that, you can look back at the presentation from committee.
Seeing no one else in queue, I will ask the clerk to call the roll.
Councilmember Ellison.
Aye.
Councilmember Koski. Aye. Councilmember Wansley. Aye. Councilmember Jenkins.
Aye.
Councilmember Palmisano.
Aye.
Councilmember Chowdhury.
Aye.
Councilmember Cashman.
Aye.
Councilmember Osman.
Aye.
Councilmember Rainville.
Aye.
Councilmember Chavez.
Aye.
Councilmember Vita.
Aye.
Vice President Chugtai.
Aye.
Council President Payne.
Aye.
There are 13 ayes.
That carries, and that report is adopted. Next, we have the Committee of the Whole, which will be presented by that committee's chair, Councilmember Chavez.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Committee of the Whole is bringing forward one item forward. It's the passage of an ordinance approving an appointed position in the Health Department with the title of Director of Environmental Programs. With that, I'll move this item for approval.
Councilmember Chavez has moved approval of the committee's report. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Councilmember Ellison. Aye. Councilmember Koski.
Aye.
Councilmember Wansley. Aye. Councilmember Jenkins.
Aye.
Councilmember Palmisano.
Aye.
Councilmember Chowdhury.
Aye.
Councilmember Cashman.
Aye.
Councilmember Osman.
Aye.
Councilmember Rainville.
Aye.
Councilmember Chavez.
Aye.
Councilmember Vita.
Aye.
Vice President Chugtai.
Aye.
Council President Payne.
Aye.
There are 13 ayes.
That carries, and the report is adopted. Finally, we have our Public Health and Safety Committee, which will be presented by that committee's chair, Councilmember Chavez.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Public Health and Safety Committee is bringing forward 9 items. Item number 1 is the passage of an ordinance related to civil rights, adding new protected classes, bolstering enforcement, and amending procedures for efficiency. I will be offering an amendment with technical changes, so I'll move this aside for separate discussion and vote. Item number 2 is accepting a retail flexible funding model grant from the Food and Drug Administration. Item number 3 is authorizing a contract for service agreement with the University of Minnesota for the Prevention Research Center Core Research Project. Item number 4 is accepting a grant for the Minnesota Department of Health for a sex trafficking awareness media campaign. Item number 5 is authorizing an MOU with Wiley Weber Law for utilizing the space at the Lake Street Safety Center. Item number 6 is accepting the Edward Byron Memorial Justice Assistant Grant to support police and attorney initiatives. Item number 7 is authorizing an MOU with Corner House. Item number 8 is authorizing revenue contract with SMG for law enforcement services at U.S. Bank Stadium. And item number 9 is authorizing an increase to a contract with Fairview Health Services for continued implementation of a nutritious-focused chronic disease prevention project. I'll move approval of all these items, excluding item number 1, which we will pull for a separate discussion and vote.
Councilmember Chavez has moved approval of the report minus item number 1. Is there any discussion on the remainder of the report? Seeing none. Oh, Councilmember. No. Okay. Seeing none, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Councilmember Ellison.
Aye.
Councilmember Koski.
Aye.
Councilmember Wansley.
Aye.
Councilmember Jenkins.
Aye.
Councilmember Palmisano.
Aye.
Councilmember Chowdhury.
Aye.
Councilmember Cashman.
Aye.
Councilmember Osman.
Aye.
Councilmember Rainville.
Aye.
Councilmember Chavez.
Aye.
Councilmember Vita.
Aye.
Vice President Chugtai.
Aye.
Council President Payne.
Aye.
There are 13 ayes.
That carries, and those items are adopted. Next, we will take up item number 1, and I will recognize Councilmember Chavez.
Thank you, Council President Payne, and I'll need some assistance from the clerks. Can I just move the amended version as 1, or do we need to take the vote on the amendment first? Either or is good with me, just for clarity.
Madam Clerk.
Council President, Councilmember Chavez, honestly, you could do it either way. I think if there's consensus with your colleagues, you could move it all as one.
Cool. So first I'll just introduce the amendments, and then we'll talk about it, and if folks want to, I can do either or. So I'll just talk about the amendments. If there's questions, we'll go from there. Cool. So Council President Payne, Councilmember Wansley, and I are bringing forward an amendment that you should all have received yesterday. This amendment has a few sections that I will explain. There are 3 changes to section 139.10. The first component of this change will add color, creed, religion, and ancestry, along with housing status to the business section under the declaration of policy purpose. The second component under this section will rearrange the order of listed protected classes to be consistent with other protected areas. And the last component of that section adds the words "a" and the word "program," which will clarify the language. The next change is in section 139.20. We are amending the definition of height and weight by removing the word "total" based on community feedback and from community members who advocate against size discrimination. The next change is in section 139.40, which adds color, creed, religion, and ancestry to the acts of discrimination specified components. This is meant to make language consistent with the business provision listed above. And the last change is removing the words or respondent from this section. This change is the result of a written public comment from a civil rights commissioner, and it's the public comments that Councilmember Hamasano made in the committee of the whole. So we are bringing this amendment to these small little changes to the ordinance.
Councilmember Chavez has moved to amend the underlying ordinance. Is there any discussion on those amendments? Councilmember Wansley.
President Payne, I'll wait to speak to the overall ordinance.
Go ahead and speak to the overall ordinance now. We'll take it up.
I'll wait. I
Let's
see
just do the
Councilmember
amendments.
Rainville also in
Okay,
queue.
Councilmember Rainville.
Go ahead, Councilmember Wansley. You're in queue ahead of me, please.
I'll hop out. You go, please. I'll go.
Councilmember Jenkins.
Thank you, President Payne. I am curious, can someone define ancestry for me?
Councilmember Chavez.
And we'll have civil rights staff
Yeah.
if you can help me explain that.
Welcome.
Council members, thank you for the question. I don't have the actual written definition, and I'm not 100% sure if it's in our ordinance, but I certainly could follow up with your office and provide that. I will explain that this is not a new change to the ordinance. Ancestry has been included in the civil rights ordinance for quite some time.
Okay. It's, all right, it's listed as a new addition.
I can provide clarification on that piece as well. So there was just an effort to make the ordinance appear as consistent as possible. So it's just a changing of ordering and including in the substantive protections in the introductory paragraphs as well. So it is not a substantive change. It's not providing any additional protections that didn't already exist in the ordinance.
Thank you. Maybe the city attorney has a understanding of the definition?
Madam City Attorney.
Excuse me, Council President, council members. So ancestry would mean like what your national origin background is throughout your, so for example, my parents were Italian, so my ancestry is Italian. So it's really to ensure that there's not discrimination because of someone's background from a cultural perspective. That makes sense. And it is true that ancestry has been, part of the civil rights ordinance, for a very, very long time. And it's just, some of these edits are really just clean up to make sure that there's consistency in the lists of protected class statuses that are in all of the provisions.
Thank you. I mean, so could that word be replaced with ethnicity? I mean, would that be the same?
Council President, council members, I think that is the sense of the word. I think that they could be used interchangeably. Other civil rights legislation uses the term ancestry, but I do think that to me, the ethnicity and ancestry would be interchangeable ideas.
Thank you very much.
Councilmember Rainville.
Thank you. So I just wanted to thank Amy Berquist. She added to some of these amendments. She sits on the Civil Rights Commission as a representative of the Third Ward, and she came to the public hearing to give her testimony. So we did incorporate these suggestions as well. So thank you, Amy.
We can take up the amendment and the underlying ordinance as amended if you wanted to speak, Councilmember Wansley.
Thank you, President Payne. So in light of, I know, comments made by my fellow co-author, Councilmember Chavez, at committee, I know we're both, proud and excited to bring this ordinance forward today, especially at a time when the federal administration is advancing attacks on our most vulnerable residents and are attempting to strip away our hard-earned civil rights. And Minneapolis gets to be a beacon, a light in this moment. And we are not only defending the rights that we have, we're continuing to expand protections against discrimination. And I want to name one particular piece about this ordinance that I'm extremely proud of, especially in light of the work that community led on, is should this ordinance pass today, Minneapolis would be the third in the U.S. to ensure protected class status for justice-impacted communities. I, of course, encourage my colleagues and members of the public to watch the public hearing on this ordinance that took place last week in the Public Health and Safety Committee. Dozens of directly impacted residents showed up to speak about what it means to them to see the city take a formal stand to codify their rights for equal treatment and protection. And I think there's nothing like personal stories to really drive home why this work matters and why we get to serve in these positions and the type of work that we get to do in these positions. So, of course, I would like to thank Councilmember Chavez, our civil rights commissioners, the Civil Rights Department, many of our community partners who joined us in this process for almost a year in making this ordinance possible. And I also look forward to further conversations with our Civil Rights Commission to learn how these changes have impacted their work as a body and how we as a council can continue to support their ability to be effective in meeting the needs of our residents as we continue to show up and evaluate how we can ensure civil protections for our residents. So I just want to say thank you to all the many partners who helped make a really, I think, meaningful policy happen, and I encourage all of my colleagues to support it.
Councilmember Chavez.
Thank you, Council President Payne. Colleagues, Councilmember Wansley and I are excited to bring this ordinance forward. As you all know, the last time this civil rights ordinance was amended was in 2017. And since then, we have seen the world drastically change. We are living in a time when the rights of people are being stripped away in this country. But today, we have an opportunity to not only protect people's rights, but expand them. This ordinance will add new protected classes. I'll go over a little bit of overview of what this does. It includes new protected classes like justice impacted, housing status, and height and weight. This ordinance will also bolster current protections. It requires accommodations for religious observance, expands jurisdiction to investigate pay inequity. It adds a definition of race that includes skin color, certain physical features, hair, texture, and style. It provides protections mirroring the Pregnant Workers Fairness Act. It adds language explicitly allowing for the investigation of intersectional discrimination, basically discrimination based upon multiple protected classes. It expands the definition of familial status to include those residing with and caring for adults who are unable to care for themselves. This was a lot of the work that was led by Civil Rights Department staff. As I mentioned in the Public Health and Safety Committee, this ordinance is a comprehensive ordinance. It bolsters and expands multiple protections to help prevent discrimination at a time when many people are being discriminated against in our country. I also wanted to highlight the amount of work that went into this ordinance. Months of work with our city attorney's office and staff, the Civil Rights Department and staff, including Director McConnell Diarra, Alex Kane, Director Phillips, Munir, Ashley Gold, Alyssa Green, who's in the audience as well, and the Civil Rights Commission, along with a variety of different staff members from Acosta Enterprise, along with justice-impacted advocates, criminal justice reform organizations, organizations that advocate against size discrimination, and housing justice advocates. And as I mentioned in the Committee for Public Health and Safety, this is the kind of work that we can be doing at a city enterprise when the council, when our city staff, when our council offices, when the mayor's administration are working really closely together to advance policy to improve the lives of our community members. So I'd want to at least highlight the amount of work that went into that. I also want to thank my staff in Ward 9, the Ward 2 staff, Councilmember Wansley staff, and everybody that helped us get to this point today. This has been decades in the making before me and Councilmember Wansley even got on the council. This has been advocacy through our community members that they have been advocating for, and all we had to do is grab that mantle and bring it home. So I just want to hope we get support from everybody here today. And again, want to thank our staff at the council, but also our department staff for all the work that they did for this too. I move approval for support.
Councilmember Chavez has moved the ordinance as amended, and will take up both without objection. And with that, I will ask the clerk to call the roll.
Councilmember Ellison.
Aye.
Councilmember Koski.
Aye.
Councilmember Wansley.
Aye.
Councilmember Jenkins is absent. Councilmember Palmisano.
Aye.
Councilmember Chowdhury.
Aye.
Councilmember Cashman.
Aye.
Councilmember Osman.
Aye.
Councilmember Rainville.
Aye.
Councilmember Chavez.
Aye.
Councilmember Vita.
Aye.
Vice President Chugtai.
Aye.
Council President Payne.
Aye.
There are 12 ayes.
That carries, and that item is adopted, and that completes the report for our Public Health and Safety Committee, as well as all of our standing committees. The next order of business is notice of ordinance introductions. We have 4 notices today. First, Councilmember Osmond gives notice of intent to introduce at the next meeting the subject matter of an ordinance amending the Licenses and Business Regulations Code, adding a new chapter 333 entitled Sauna Establishments to regulate sauna establishments. Second, Councilmember Chowdhury gives notice of intent to introduce at the next meeting the subject matter of an ordinance amending the Planning and Development Code, adding a new chapter 426B entitled Restrictive Covenants. Third, Councilmember Wansley gives notice of intent to introduce at the next meeting the subject matter of an ordinance amending the Administration Code, adding a section 18.190 relating to contracts for surveillance technology. And finally, Councilmember Wansley gives notice of intent to introduce at the next meeting of the City Council the subject matter of an ordinance amending the Administration Code, adding a new section 18.200 relating to professional services contracts between $5,000 and $175,000. Are there any questions on these notices? Councilmember Wansley.
Thank you, President Payne. Just want to share a bit of information on those 2 NNIs or NOIs. The first related to surveillance technology. Since about 2022, my office has been in conversations around how to better enhance the city's practices related to surveillance. And I know this work was also initiated by the prior council starting around 2018, but also emphasizing, I know, while we really can't control the operational matters around how surveillance is used. And most recently, we've seen this really be rolled out under the Minneapolis Police Department. I think this ordinance has the goal of making sure we're standardizing more transparency for the council and the public to learn when and what type of surveillance equipment is being utilized. And essentially, the goal would be for this ordinance to foster more transparency, either through the inclusion of a public hearing when surveillance technology is being proposed for purchasing, or through a contract with an external party for the solicitation of those services. So all this with the goal of making sure that there's public awareness on the type of technology that the city, especially law enforcement, is using or has access to, especially in light of, again, things that's happening at the federal level. The second NOI is related to the second chapter, but an unrelated issue. We have, as many of you are aware, for the last couple of years, and especially in recent months, have had many conversations around contracts that have raised serious concerns in terms of where they're being awarded to, or just questionable ethics from those contractors that's been administered under the Frye administration. And I know, thanks to public scrutiny and also council oversight, essentially, there has been corrective actions that's been put in place by the administration, sometimes in response to those contracts. But I want to note it should not take media publications for the city leadership to institute greater transparency around our contracting processes, especially for contracts under $175,000. And currently, these type of contracts do not require council approval, which essentially grants us very limited opportunities for oversight as a body over these contracts. And essentially, there are no transparency for these contracts for the public as well. So this particular loophole is essentially shown itself to not be good for good governance, and this ordinance seeks to rectify that. So just want to provide that context around the intent for both ordinances as it relates to surveillance and how we're trying to strengthen transparency around our financial policies.
And before I call on Councilmember Chowdhury, Councilmember Jenkins, would you like your vote recorded for the civil rights ordinance?
Thank you, and yes.
All right. Without objection, Madam Clerk?
Noted. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Chowdhury.
Thank you, President Payne. I wanted to speak to the notice of introduction that I'm bringing briefly. It's a restrictive covenants removal ordinance. It is really, really centered in the fact about naming harm and taking responsibility. In the city of Minneapolis, we have a long history of racially restrictive covenants being used as a tool of exclusion that would shape where people of color could live or could not live, where they could build wealth, where they could have connectivity in different neighborhoods, really the Jim Crow of the North. And while racial covenants aren't currently in effect, many houses still have racial covenants attached to their deeds. And in connection with Mapping Prejudice, a team at the University of Minnesota, they report that there's over 8,000 covenanted properties in Minneapolis, and a handful of these have already been discharged voluntarily due to the work of actually one of our city attorneys, Amy Schutt, through the Just Deeds project. And with this start, we have a chance of beginning to correct the history by acknowledging these covenants are not just artifacts of the past, but structure that still impacts our present. This ordinance is hopefully the first step toward a broader effort to ensure that our city code reflects the values of equity, justice, and belonging. And this work was really actually inspired by a group of constituents who I have been working with for the last year and a half in their effort to rename a street in my ward named after the man that actually brought forward racial covenants to the city of Minneapolis, Edmund Walton. And this work has been community-led from the beginning. The Reclaiming Edmond Coalition modeled that hard conversations and accountability can look, what that can look like at a neighborhood level. And just through that work, we saw that other cities were kind of taking up this type of requirement of discharging racially restrictive and discriminatory covenants. And being a person of color myself that represents my ward, I know that going back in time, there are many places where I would not have been able to own a home and live. And I have community members and residents who are Black, Brown, Jewish, who live on Edmond Boulevard or live in a house that currently has a racial covenant or in the process of discharging a racial covenant that have shared their stories and what that means not only for them but the kids that they're raising, and what it says about how our city government chooses to respond or doesn't choose to respond. So I'm really excited to move this work forward. There's going to be a lot of effort behind this, and it's going to take some time to just figure out how we do this in a way that makes sense and works for the people of Minneapolis. And yeah, I look forward to getting a chance to speak with everyone on the body about this and the street renaming.
Seeing no one else in queue, those notices are hereby given and no further action is required at this time. The next order of business is introduction and referral calendar. We have 2 introductions scheduled for today. First, pursuant to notice, Council members Cashman, Rainville, and Wansley move to introduce and give first reading to an ordinance amending the Planning and Development Code adding a new chapter 425A entitled Minneapolis Tourism Improvement District, establishing the Minneapolis Tourism Improvement District and providing for its administration and operation as authorized by Minnesota statutes. Additionally, this introduction and referral includes the scheduling of a public hearing to be held at the May 20th, 2025 Business, Housing, and Zoning Committee. Second, pursuant to notice, Councilmember Chavez moves to introduce the subject matter of an ordinance amending the Land Subdivision Code for first reading and referral to the Business, Housing, and Zoning Committee, modifying the definition of affordable housing units to address units financed in whole or part by a tribe or tribal entity. May I have a motion to approve these introductions?
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Councilmember Cashman.
Thank you, President Payne. I just wanted to thank all of the folks who have worked for many years to be able to establish a tourism improvement district in Minneapolis. I first heard about this from Representative Frank Hornstein, who was the author at the state to allow cities in Minnesota to pass tourism improvement districts. And then the great folks at Meet Minneapolis, including Bill Deef, Christy Loy, Melvin Tennant and Jeff Johnson have all really championed this and brought the hotels in the city on board to pool resources to improve the hospitality industry. So I'm excited to be carrying this legislation to authorize it, and I look forward to more discussion with colleagues and the public hearing on May 20th to hear from people who work in the industry and their stories and what they're hoping this can help us achieve. Thank you.
Councilmember Rainville.
Pushing the wrong buttons here. It happens, Kelly, right? So I too want to speak on that. In particular, I want to compliment Bill Deef for all the hard work. Bill, I'm trying to search my memory banks, but this was about a 4 or 5 year process on your part. How many fingers? Longer than that. But what this is going to do is bring resources into our city that over 200 other cities enjoy to promote their hospitality industry. Right now, with downtown slowing down on offices, we need that hospitality industry to keep our property values up and our job creation, as well as the tax that's generated. So thank you very much, Bill, for all your hard work, and let's keep talking about this.
Seeing no one else in queue, I will ask the clerk to call the roll.
Councilmember Ellison.
Aye.
Councilmember Koski.
Aye.
Councilmember Wansley.
Aye.
Councilmember Jenkins.
Aye.
Councilmember Palmisano.
Aye.
Councilmember Chowdhury.
Aye.
Councilmember Cashman.
Aye.
Councilmember Osman.
Aye.
Councilmember Rainville.
Aye.
Councilmember Chavez.
Aye.
Councilmember Vita.
Aye.
Vice President Chugtai.
Aye.
Council President Payne.
Aye.
There are 13 ayes.
That motion carries, and those matters are referred to the Business, Housing, and Zoning Committee. The next order of business is resolutions. Our honorary resolutions today include the 4 that were presented at the beginning of the meeting, as well as a resolution honoring the 125th anniversary of De La Salle High School. Additionally, Councilmember Ellison amended the agenda today to include a resolution honoring Kirk Washington Jr. Are there any questions or comments from council members? Councilmember Ellison.
Just wanted to thank my colleagues for letting me walk this on. Usually I would have Kirk's family here and we'd do a presentation. We've done that in the past. We're going to be doing something in community. Folks want to, continue to honor the legacy of Kirk Washington. And I know that not everybody up here maybe knows Kirk, but he was a poet. He was an artist in North Minneapolis representing Harrison. While I knew Kirk as a kid, at the time of his passing, he was actually doing a program here at the city known as Creative City Making, and he was working on digital divide issues between North Minneapolis and the rest of the city. And so it just kind of reminds me every time this time of year comes up, sort of the work that our own arts department is doing in its current iteration, the work that artists do, not just to create images and tell stories, but also to really organize and create material change. And so just want to thank you all for allowing me to walk this on, and hope to have all you guys' support on this.
Councilmember Rainville.
Thank you. I want to speak briefly to the De La Salle 125th anniversary. It's a tremendous school. We've had a lot of mayors, politicians, firemen, policemen, some good, some bad. But I'll be there on Saturday to give this in person. And I just appreciate my colleagues supporting this effort to recognize a great educational institution.
Councilmember Jenkins.
Thank you, President Payne. I just wanted to briefly speak to the resolution honoring the life of Kirk Washington Jr., a very dear friend, fellow poet. We're actually birthday buddies as well. And I mean, I think Kirk's life and work is a perfect example of how the arts can change community and is a very critical part of social justice and movement change. Kirk spent time overseas, learning and developing his craft, advocating and supporting communities throughout the world and throughout this country, and certainly right here in Minneapolis. And so I want to thank the author for bringing this forward. I'm saddened that we didn't have the celebration here as we usually do, have been for several years, but wanted to make sure I understand where those celebrations will be in North Minneapolis so that I can participate.
Still working on the details, but we're going to do it at the old bike shop over on Glenwood. I'm forgetting the exact address, but Morgan and Glenwood, and I'll get the details so that for anybody who wants to come through can come through. And would love to have folks to remember Kirk, and you know, you've read his poetry here on the dais before, absolutely. So I can't tell Andrea anything about Kirk that you don't already know, but other folks can maybe learn a little bit about his life and why he was important to North Minneapolis.
Yeah, the poem I read was actually a poem for the city of Minneapolis that was commissioned by former Mayor Betsy Hodges.
Councilmember Chavez.
Thank you, Council President Payne. Just want to announce that the May Day Parade is happening on Sunday at noon at Powderhorn Park. Big day.
Not at announcements yet.
Oh.
We'll get there. We're on resolutions.
Wow. It felt like it. Sorry.
Take a breath. Take a breath. May I have a motion to adopt these resolutions?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
The clerk will call the roll.
Councilmember Ellison.
Aye.
Councilmember Koski. Aye. Councilmember Wansley.
Aye.
Councilmember Jenkins.
Aye.
Councilmember Palmisano.
Aye.
Councilmember Chowdhury.
Aye.
Councilmember Cashman.
Aye.
Councilmember Usman.
Aye.
Councilmember Rainville.
Aye.
Councilmember Chavez.
Aye.
Councilmember Vita.
Aye.
Vice President Chugtai.
Aye.
Council President Payne.
Aye.
There are 13 ayes.
That carries, and those resolutions are adopted. And before we move on to our next order of business, which is announcements, I'm going to just note that this is our first unanimous agenda this term, and possibly since I've ever been elected. So just wanted to highlight that as we transition into announcements. Are there any announcements? Councilmember Chavez, would you like to make an announcement?
Yeah, I'll make it quick. Big day in the South Side on Sunday, May Day Parade, the May Day Festival at Powderhorn Park across the Bloomington corridor. All is welcome.
Councilmember Vita.
Thank you. And I'm sad that I have a sad announcement to make, but when we get elected to these positions, I never thought about how sometimes your constituents become family and the relationships that you build with folks. And Ward 4 has lost a really cool person. His name is Ray Shoke. He served on the Capital Long Range Improvement Commission. He also served on the Shingle Creek Watershed, and there is no tour of the Shingle Creek like a tour from Ray. Ray's super cool. He came to visit me often. A former history teacher, had lots of knowledge about Shingle Creek and just about Minneapolis in general. I'm gonna miss him tremendously. I'm gonna miss his pop-up visits. I'm gonna miss his Christmas newsletter, not a Christmas card, a Christmas newsletter. I'm gonna miss his love for his grandchildren and his artistic vibe around stand stained glass windows. He created really cool windows, and he took some amazing photos of North Minneapolis, in particular the Shingle Creek. I think it was last year there was a beaver dam forming in the Shingle Creek, and he got some really awesome photos of it that he sent around. And so if you all would please join me in a moment of silence for Ray Shoke, former Ward 4 resident. Thank you.
Councilmember Jenkins.
Thank you, President Payne. I wanted to acknowledge tomorrow is Neighborhood Cleanup Day, and I know every neighborhood is going to be engaged in activities to clean up, but I certainly want to invite folks, if you want to come over to George Floyd Square, we will be cleaning up and repainting the names on the streets over there, and so that is an opportunity. And then on Sunday, May 4th, is the Walk for MS, which will be held at Minnehaha Falls, and please come out and support the MS Society, help raise money to do research. As we know, the federal administration has cut all sorts of research funding, and so we need to help this organization to build its coffers to continue to do the amazing work that they do. Thank you.
I added myself to queue to announce that Saturday is our annual neighborhood day. Audubon Park is having a spring festival. Lower Northeast has their annual meeting at Sociable Cider. There's going to be a tool swap at Logan Park. There's going to be a spring gathering with the Columbia Park Neighborhood Association. So a ton of neighborhoods across the city are going to be celebrating Neighborhood Day, and everybody should get out and meet a neighbor. Councilmember Rainville.
Thank you. I'm a little late on this, but I wanted to welcome a new Democratic senator to the city of Minneapolis, Doran Clark. We had, with the untimely death of Senator Dietzich, we had a special election, and I had a chance to visit with him last week, and he's thrown himself into the job, and he's doing a great representation for Northeast and Southeast Minneapolis. So welcome, Senator Clark, to his new position.
Seeing no one else in queue, with that, we've completed our business today with nothing further to come before the council, and without objection, this meeting is hereby adjourned.